Late one evening, Emily returned home from her evening jog, her skin glistening with sweat under the moonlight. Her apartment was dimly lit, casting long shadows that danced across the floor. She tossed her keys on the table and headed straight to the bathroom. She felt restless and uneasy, as though something or someone had been following her during her run, though she saw no one. The large, antique mirror in the bathroom had always fascinated her. It was a gift from her grandmother, who claimed it was a family heirloom passed down for generations. It had an ornate gold frame, intricate with carvings that seemed almost alive. Emily had always felt there was something strange about it, as though the reflections weren't quite right. As she washed her face, she heard a faint scratching sound. It was soft at first, but gradually grew louder. Startled, she looked up at the mirror. For a second, she thought she saw something, a shadow, moving behind her reflection. She quickly turned around, but the room was empty. Her heart raced as she stared into the mirror again. This time the shadow was clearer, more distinct. It looked like a figure, tall, hunched and dark, standing right behind her reflection. Emily froze in place. Her reflection blinked, but she hadn't. Panicked, she stepped back, but her reflection didn't follow. It stood there, staring at her, the shadowy figure growing closer behind it. Emily's breathing became shallow, her pulse racing. She tried to look away, but the mirror seemed to hold her gaze. Suddenly the reflection smiled, a twisted, sinister grin that didn't belong to her. The shadow behind her reflection loomed larger, its bony hand reaching out from behind the glass. Emily's reflection mouthed words she couldn't hear, but the meaning was clear. "Let me in." She stumbled backward, knocking over a vase, but her reflection stayed motionless, still smiling. Desperate, she turned and ran out of the bathroom, slamming the door shut behind her. But the scratching sound followed her, growing louder and more frantic, as though it was coming from inside the walls. The lights flickered, and the apartment seemed to close in around her. The mirror had always been in her family, but she now realized why her grandmother had given it away. The mirror wasn't just reflecting her, it was watching her, and it wanted something. Her phone was on the table, but when she grabbed it, her hands trembled too much to dial. The scratching sound stopped abruptly, and for a moment, there was silence. Emily dared to look back at the bathroom door. It was open, and standing in the doorway was her reflection.